Hi, I'm Jim Gilmore, the former governor of Virginia, former United States ambassador to the OSCE, and along the way was the Attorney General of Virginia and the chief prosecutor elected in Henrico County. So I've been around a little bit, and I wanted to say a few things to all of you all about the redistricting that's going on right now, so that you can just be alive to it as it continues to develop. What we, of course, have here is a very major majority of the Democratic Party in the state legislature right now in the General Assembly. So what they're doing at this point is passing legislation that, in my view, creates really a one-party government again. And this has gone on through redistricting, to a very unfair redistricting, and it's gone to Governor Spanberger, who originally said that she was not likely to sign any kind of redistricting, and now, of course, she has signed it. So that's kind of where we are here. But let me talk to you about this for just a minute. Number one, there are technical reasons why I think this is really bad. Number one, the ballot language that was on the ballot was misleading. It was official language on the ballot that people saw in the voting booth, and it said that number one, it was intended to restore fairness. Well, that's not true. It was not intended to restore fairness. It was intended to create unfairness on behalf of the Democratic Party. Because what was going to happen here was this redistricting was going to change the districts from likely where we are today, which is 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, all by a neutral development process on that, to a new districting that was going to create 10-1 Democrats. So that's unfair. It's unfair because, as we've seen from the referendum, it's basically a 50-50 state. Sure, by a little margin, the Democrats did win the majority by less than 3%. But basically, half of the state's voters are now disenfranchising the other half. Because what's going to happen now is that the people who want to vote Republican or tend to follow the Republican way of thinking of things are going to be completely boxed out of the congressional races, except for 1 seat. That's not fair. And that was what they were saying on the ballot. Secondly, they said on the ballot that in addition to the fairness, that it was just temporary. Well, what does that mean? The Democrats say that it's temporary if sooner or later, 6 or 7 years from now, they're going to go back to the original process again. Well, there's no guarantee they're going to do that, number one. And number two, that's not any definition of temporary that I know about. If you're going to have faked, skewed, unfair elections in 26, which is intended to do, it's also going to be in 2028 and in 2030. That's not temporary. And the damage that will be done to the Republican Party during that period of time, when they're not going to really be able to effectively offer Republican candidates, and therefore not going to be able to effectively organize or raise money underneath those elections, that damage is probably irreparable. So think about the unfairness of all this, and that means that the ballot was misleading people. Would it mislead people that would change, say, a 1.5% from yes to no? Sure. It's quite likely. We will never know that, of course, but the point is that the ballot was not fair and raises that concern. Now, the really argument here is that they were trying to get at Trump, who was trying to do this in other states, so we in Virginia have to do it here. Well, I disapprove of all this midterm redistricting, which is intended to rig elections, whether it's in Texas or in California, or especially not in Virginia. Our duty is to the people of Virginia to have fair and honest elections. And this General Assembly has passed a rule now that says you're not going to have that. So it has an impact on the 2-party government in Virginia. When I first started politics, there was only one party in Virginia. It was the Democrat Party. It was the old Democratic Party. And it was really designed at that point to try to box out African Americans and keep them from being elected to office or have an opportunity to participate. When I came along, I was a young Republican, and the Democrats told me, you will never be in the majority in Virginia because we will always redistrict you every 10 years and make sure that you're in a permanent minority. I thought that was awful. I thought that was more like what they do in Russia or in China to try to create a one-party government. And I was determined to bring two-party government into Virginia. We did that through the work, not just of myself, but of many people in the legislature, Vance Wilkins and others, that worked very hard to bring two-party government into Virginia. And we finally did it in my administration by bringing the first majorities that were Republican into the House of Delegates and the state Senate. This process that's going on right now is determined to reverse that, to bring back once again one-party government in Virginia. It'll be the Democratic Party. So certainly the work of a lifetime to try to bring fairness for the people of Virginia will be reversed by this process that's going on. Now, one more thing. There's an article, there's a case that was in the Richmond courts right now that really argued about many of the issues that were going on. But one of them was that the question of whether or not the standard of constitutional redistricting was that the district are compact and contiguous. Well, the process that's being offered right now by the Democrats is not compact, not contiguous, not having a uniform of interest within the districts. None of these standard constitutional tests of legality they're all being thrown out of the window. You know, the argument is, of course, that the federal courts don't have anything to do with this because it's a political matter in the states. But the Supreme Court of the United States has said that the state courts have an absolute right to oversee the fairness of these districts. In fact, it is in the Constitution of Virginia that the districts, when they're redone, have to be compact and contiguous. That's been brushed aside by this whole process that's going on right now. And I'm advised that the judge in Richmond that determined that implied that requirement in the Virginia Constitution was being thrown out by this referendum, by implication. You don't simply throw out a constitutional provision by implication when it was never a part of any of the court processes at all. So this is a complete illegality that's going on. It's wrong. The official language on the ballot is actually official wrongdoing to do that. And this can't stand. It's before the Supreme Court. They argued about it on the 27th, and now it's in the hands of the Supreme Court. Let's see what they ultimately do. But I am confident that the court is going to restore real democracy back to Virginia and declare this gerrymandered redistricting that the Democrats have done to be illegal. Thanks very much.